Hello, I'm Jake Vondelinde, Director of Student Achievement, and I'm joined on this screencast by Chris Hester, Secondary Equity Advancement POSA, and Laura Freer, Principal of Fairview Alternative High School. Thank you for viewing our graduation and post-secondary report screencast. This report provides data on graduation percentages from our graduates in the spring of 2023 and post-secondary data from recent years. We will be discussing this report at the school board meeting on May 28th, where you'll be able to ask questions and provide comments and feedback. Our 5 district goals and strategic plan areas support our students in their work towards graduation and their continued experiences after high school. This slide highlights the areas of our current strategic plan goals that align to the data in this report. The areas that we've highlighted on this slide have a direct impact on our student experience that takes them through their high school experience and beyond. To do this, we need to ensure that students are college and career ready, that we prepare them to be racially and socially responsive. And we need to build a culture where our students feel welcomed, included, and safe. And we need to partner with our whole community to support our students towards their graduation and beyond. We'll start with information about graduation. Please know that the data shown is for the graduates of school year 2023. So that's last spring. Typically, graduation data is reported in a 4-year cohort format. However, we do have a number of students who continue beyond those 4 years, but are not included as a graduate in this data. The standard that the Minnesota Department of Education uses is the 4-year cohort rate, and that is why this report mostly focuses on the 4-year format. However, when we as a school district look at the data, especially at data for Fairview Alternative High School, we look at data for 5, 6, and 7 years for students to complete high school. By the time we reach 7 years, it doesn't include very many students, but is still an option for them to complete high school. As we know, a high school diploma is so important and leads to many other possibilities and opportunities. The district data in this report includes all of our schools that provide diplomas, including Roseville Area High School and Fairview Alternative High School. This data compares Roseville area schools' graduation percentages to the state of Minnesota. Roseville is represented in the light blue and Minnesota in the dark blue. It's important to note that students graduating in 2023 were significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, which disrupted the spring of their freshman year and much of their sophomore year. The all students group is well above the state and improved from last school year. Roseville's percentage is 89.6 compared to 83.3 for Minnesota statewide. We increased about 4.5 percentage points from last year, while the state slightly decreased. All of our student groups outperformed the state graduation percentages. This slide shows our student groups based on a 4-year trend. Our data from 2023 shows that our Hispanic students, multiracial students, and students who receive educational benefits all saw double-digit increases, and nearly all of our student groups increased their graduation percentage. Even though we're only showing a 5-year trend in this slide, we have seen a significant increase in our graduation disparity between our Black and white students since 2014. We're able to publicly report data for American Indian students again this year, and they had a very high graduation percentage. This slide represents the numbers for our student groups that were reported on the previous slide to provide greater context for the percentages. Note that these numbers represent the number of students who graduated in 4 years, and that the overall number of graduates was up from the previous year. This data compares Roseville area schools to the statewide graduation data and to 8 comparable school districts. In 2023, Roseville area schools had the highest graduation rate of our comparable schools. The graduation rates were mixed this year, with 5 districts showing an increase, 2 decreasing, and 2 remaining even.
Well, Chris Hester here from OEE, Equity Advancement POSA. I was former principal of Roseville Area High School for the last 6 years. This slide moves us from the district data to Roseville Area High School data. Ross continues to show high 4-year graduation rates and increased by 1 percentage point from 2022. Our Black students, multiracial students showed the highest graduation percentage points increases from the previous year. In relation to 9 other comparable high schools, Ross, for the first time, ranks first. This slide shows the student counts for graduation at Ross. As you can see, the total number of graduates remained the same over the past 2 years. This slide also helps us see the context behind the graduation percentages, especially for some of our student groups that have smaller numbers, which can really change the percentage from year to year.
Hi, I'm Laura Freer. I'm the principal of Fairview Alternative High School. This slide shows the graduation rates for students at FOS. For FOS, the standard graduation rate that we use to evaluate ourselves is the 7-year rate, as Jake explained earlier. The nature of FOS is to get every student to graduate as quickly as possible. However, students come to FOS with significant credits to make up, and the 7-year rate provides us a more accurate timeline for graduation. FOS Alternative High School, or Fairview Alternative High School, the 7-year rate decreased from 79.2% in 2022 to 69.4% in 2023. However, the 4-year graduation rate nearly doubled from 38.6% to 72.2%. This is the highest 4-year rate we have ever seen at FOS. And the 7-year graduation rate continues to increase from 2014 when we started tracking the 7-year graduation data. The other student group that has a reportable data is our students who qualify for educational benefits, and their trend mirrors the all student group. FOS continues to rank 3rd out of the 9 comparable school districts. This slide provides the overall picture of graduation at FOS over time. As you can see, it is important for us to focus on the 7-year rates, as 4 years is oftentimes not quite enough. However, as you can see, the student graduation percentages grow as students have more time for graduation. In 2023, our 4-year rate, which nearly doubled, and our 6-year rate increased, while year 5 and year 7 rates fell.
So this slide provides a summary of the data from the first section. As you can see, for our district-wide Roseville area schools, we had a graduation percentage increase of about 6% above the state, which is a 4.5% or 4.5 percentage point increase. All of our student groups performed above the statewide group. Our district ranked first among our comparables, and we showed a significant decrease in our graduation disparity between Black and white students. At Roseville Area High School, we increased about 1% from 2022, and we were the highest of our comparable districts, and nearly all of our student groups improved. Our Black and multiracial students also showed the largest increases. And at Fairview Alternative High School, our 7-year rate, we showed a decrease. Our 4-year rate nearly doubled, and we were 3rd among our comparables. We'll start our report, this next part, with our post-secondary data. So our post-secondary data looks at our post-secondary school enrollment, developmental course enrollment, and graduates who are entering the workforce. So this first data set is provided by the Minnesota Statewide Longitudinal Education Data System, or SLEDS. It's a partnership of the Minnesota Office of Higher Education, the Minnesota Department of Education, and the Employment and Economic Development Department. It shows students who entered post-secondary at any point in their first year after graduation, starting in the fall of 2022. We see a small increase in student enrollment after a few years of decreases since the pandemic. The all students group increased 2 percentage points from last year, but it's still down 10 percentage points from 2019. Our white and black students and students who qualify for educational benefits all saw increases, with white students seeing a 9 percentage point increase from the previous year. This slide shows our comparable districts over the past 4 years. I included 2019 in the data, so you can see the pattern from 2019 shows a trend of declines for all of our comparable districts. The range of decrease from 2019 is 2 to 16 percentage points. The data on this slide is also provided by the statewide longitudinal education data. This data is looking at the percentage of students who enrolled in college who needed to take a developmental course, formerly called a remedial course, during their first 2 years at the college level before taking a credit-bearing course in that subject area. Counterintuitively, we hope to see these numbers decline, as that trend would show that we have students more prepared for their college courses that are credit-bearing. Our district has continued to show a decrease for most student groups. We see some significant decreases for multilingual learners over time. However, in 2022, we do see a double-digit increase for our students who have an IEP and multiracial students. This slide shows our comparable districts' percentages for students taking developmental courses in their first 2 years of school. We see that other comparable districts have also seen large decreases over the past 3 years. This data set is also provided by SLEDS and shows the fields that our students went into after high school graduation. It represents about 24% of our high school graduates that went into the workforce after graduation. The highest percentages of graduates went into the fields of trades, transportation, and utilities, as well as leisure and hospitality. Our highest percentages continue to be in those trades, transportation, and utilities. This slide provides another view of the previous data, and it shows a 5-year trend for our student groups, looking at the numbers for those students entering the workforce. This comparable school data shows the percent of students entering the workforce, comparing Roseville to other school districts and statewide. We kept 4 years in this data so you can see the interesting patterns after the COVID-19 pandemic. Roseville, like most districts, saw our numbers of students entering the workforce increase and continue to stay higher. That trend is the same statewide, with an increase of 4 percentage points from 2019. This slide shows the percentage of students are Black, Indigenous, and students of color compared to our white students in what students do after graduation. The top line shows comparisons by percentages of students entering the workforce, and the bottom line show a comparison by students in post-secondary school. 2022 shows a much higher difference between the post-secondary choices of our white students and our BIPOC students. And this is a summary of our post-secondary data. For our post-secondary school enrollment, we saw enrollment increase about 2 percentage points over the previous year. Statewide and most comparable districts, we also saw a decrease. Our white and Black students and students who qualify for educational benefits showed an increase. And in our developmental courses for post-secondary schools, we saw a decrease by about a percentage point for our all students group. Statewide, we continue to see decreases. We also saw increases for our students with an IEP and our multiracial students. And for our students who are entering the workforce after graduation, we saw about 24% of our students entering the workforce, which has seen an increase since our COVID-19 pandemic. And the areas that our students are most entering after graduation are the fields of the trades, transportation and utilities, as well as leisure and hospitality. So we thank you for watching and viewing our presentation, and we will be at the school board meeting on May 28th to answer any of your questions and have further discussion.